I'll invite the next presenter, Muhammad Sudban Fikri. Mr. Muhammad Sudban Fikri for his presentation. Okay, thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Subhan Fikri. I'm from Central Borneo. All of us, my friends, Raskandar Farid and Eli Kaliani cannot attend here. And then my colleague is Ahmad Fauzan. Okay, we are from English Education Study Program, Palangkaraya University, Central Borneo Province in Indonesia. I would like to present our paper based on our research, Cultural Sensitive Content in Creative Writing, and Analysis of EFL Students' Perceptions. Okay, I would like to start with understanding the local cultures that we have here. It's not necessarily only values and customs, but also how people names, how our tribes or our ethnicity name the people, name the food, and other things. And also, even in the metric system used by people, and also how this actually is socially constructed inside cultures. And then, local cultures in the EFL class help with familiarization and contextualizations. When we teach in our classrooms, in our study program, we would like to relate everything that is actually happens in UK or USA to what happens in our own ethnicity or in our own city or our area. And then here, based on Indonesian researches, local culture can be integrated to EFL learning materials through material orientation integrations. Integrating local cultures to reading materials or textbooks includes cultural institutions, art forms, places, and values. Here, what we have, the problem that we have in Indonesia. Indonesia spans like 38 provinces with different cultures, with different ethnicities. And then most of our textbooks, English textbooks, are coming from Java Island that can capture the problem that happens in Borneo, in Sulawesi, or in Papua. So our study program, English Education Study Program in University of Palangkaraya, facilitated this need through creative writing based on local potential course. So in this course, what we do is teaching students to have a creative writing that can actually include the cultures, the values, or the norms that actually in Dayak people. In Central Borneo, we have Dayak people and Banjar people. So Banjar and Dayak values and culture can be included into our reading materials. The students have produced short stories in the end of the semester, and then the reading materials, but still lack of the evaluations. So in this research, one of the ways to evaluate the story is by investigating the intended reader's perceptions of the stories. Okay. The method we use here is case study, investigating students' perception as the intended readers. So 46 students in the writing class, the creative writing classrooms, was involved as the research participants, and then students read 10 stories produced in creative writing based on local potential course, and answered 10 open-ended questions through Google Form. 10 questions asking about two aspects. The first aspect is culture content aspect, and then the story writing aspect. The data were analyzed using thematic analysis. The results, there are several results that we found in this research from cultural content found in story and proposed by the participants as the part of the society or part of the culture itself, and then the representation of local culture in the stories, and then the appropriateness level of the story, the pleasure of reading, aesthetic aspect of the story, language use, and difficulty level of the story, and the story eligibility as reading materials. Here, cultural content found in the story and proposed by the participant. The first is centered on the languages and language elements. That also include how Banjar people or Dayak people names their son, their daughter, and then setting a local architecture buildings, names, character, food, plants, and tools or items, habits, and daily life, customs, belief system, norms, familiar terms, myth, legend, and folk tales. The representation of local culture in the stories. The first is cultural representation is considered inadequate based on the opinion from the respondents, since it is mostly found in dialects and sub-settings. Cultural content should be added in more ways to represent Dayak people. And then the last is the essential cultural contents within the stories cannot be grasped easily since the contents are too vague and the readers feel unfamiliar with the contents. So this is their suggestions on the local culture representation. First is the relevant and contextual cultural elements. So some of the participants mentions that somehow the cultural contents feels too forced into the stories, like it's not really contextual. And then accurate and authentic representation of the cultures, since our students are not only from Dayak and Banjar people, some of them are coming from Sumatra, some of them coming from Java, so some of them wrote the stories not really accurate towards the cultures. So we need an accurate and authentic representations of the culture. The third, cultural portrayal through characters, actions, dialect, or worldviews, and then appropriate introduction of local language and expressions. So they believe that we need to put like Dayak language or Banjar language into the stories, and then we need to translate them into English or describe them into English. And then the fifth, introduction, authentic cultural elements through appropriate setting and environment descriptions. Sixth, cultural aspects, integration into the story plots, not only forced into the conversations or just the settings. 7, a nuanced and respectful portrayal of the cultures and avoiding ethnic stereotypes. 8, adequate level of cultural content detail to avoid overwhelming the reader, so they will be like confused what's actually being talked in the story. Narrative enrichment through diverse perspectives, so it's actually very important because how the culture view the world is very important. So they demand to be put into the stories too. And opinions within the cultures. Then clear cultural elements presentations and 11 editions of creative and immediate elements. Because in Borneo, we also have like mythical animals or something like that. We don't have that. And then they demanded to be put into the stories too. Okay, the appropriateness level of the story, most of the responses, more than 90% consider the source story suitable for their language proficiency levels and age, considering if they are from Central Kalimantan. And then some responses note that the stories are not really suitable for the university level learners and is more suitable for high school level. So we need to actually revise the story based on their responses. Word choices and sentence structure complexity mainly determine the appropriateness level, exactly based on the participants' judgment. So number 4, 2 simple story plots and focusing mainly on cultural contents, such as descriptions of settings or places, rather than the strong complexity lower the reading material level to high school level. So we need actually this actually good improvement that is suggested by the participant. And then 4 points factors that mentions by the participants that actually can engage them into reading more stories. First is engaging plots. Second is relatable characters to them, since they are also part of the culture itself. And then the third, emotional moments, and then the fourth, immersive cultural settings. Aesthetic aspect of the story, the characters building how they develop the characters of the in the story, the language styles, storytelling technique, and the portrayal of nature and environment. Languages and difficulty level of the story. The story is easy to understand, considering they are English students actually, but they are coming from Borneo, from Indonesia. And then the language is simple, clear, and straightforward. The script itself to provide detailed narration to help readers visualize and the setting and characters. Highly anticipated, strong character development, clear plot structure, authentic dialogues, moral message, and various language styles. And then this last, the story eligibility as reading materials. Most of the participants mentioned that the story should be simple and easy to understand in order to be reading materials for a university level. Higher creativity of the writer to combine stories with local cultures. And then the last is more comprehensible use of language. Since they are still in like undergraduate degree, some of them still make mistakes in their structures, so they need more comprehensible use of language. Okay, in discussion, here we talk about culture and identity. Culture is the concept that revolves around societal groups, influencing various aspects of a social group's identity, such as language and interactions, architectures, and more. Culture and language are intertwined, and each social group produces its unique language, with which distinguishes them from others. Teaching a language means teaching culture. Teaching a language entirely involves teaching the associated culture. When we teach English, we have to teach the cultures that actually exist in UK and also in USA. But somehow, when it is unfamiliar with them, it's very hard to teach English. And then familiar cultural contents is learning. So when we put their own culture into the English materials, it helps them to understand better and also practice their English. Motivation and comprehension. Familiar cultural content enhances motivations and also comprehension among learners, making them more interested in the language and culture. Promoting and preserving culture. It's also the other goals of having this kind of materials, because we can, when we integrate the cultures into the materials, we can actually promote and preserve our cultures into the materials, since it can be actually used years after we were there. And the specific local content and stories, the study focuses on the incorporation of specific local cultural elements in the story, including character names, setting, knowledge value, to create a richer learning experience for them. In conclusions, the findings of this study reveal that familiar local content can enhance readers' experience in comprehending the story. The use of incorporated cultural content in learning materials also lessens the pressures on the participants when they read the story. It's also justified that reading materials with localized cultural content is indeed important for ESL or EFL learning process. They are not just introducing new language, but also delivering the language using familiar context, promoting and preserving the culture. That's all from me. Terima kasih Pak Hari. This means that thank you very much, brothers and sisters in Dayak language.
Thank you very much. So I invite the questions from the floor. 2 or 3. Yes.
Hello. Yes. So, good afternoon. I appreciate the effort to promote your local culture through teaching creative writing. But I'm just curious on what frameworks or what literary movements do you use to teach your students in creative writing on how to tell their stories? Because I think if we would apply Western narrative frameworks in telling the story and including cultural content from your country, I think I can also, or I observe that there are also local frameworks or local movements that we should promote to the students. So how do you do this?
Well, basically, this is actually a very new course in our study programs, and like only has like 2 or 3 years. So we haven't really have a good formula for our class. We actually go with like very classical frameworks, like how they just wrote the story, what is it, short stories, and then some others like probably poetry and some other things in our creative writing class. So we still look forward to like Western's frameworks, but somehow we would like to develop our own because we have actually our story. I mean, like our some of the class also translating the existing stories into English, but also we would like to also create a new one with similar content actually. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Because I believe also that your country, you have a lot of your own literary movement that you.
Yes.
So I think it would be interesting for EFL students to use the English language but still incorporate your own literary movement in creative writing, not just the cultural content in
Yes.
itself, but the style.
The style is
Yeah.
also.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. I have only one question. I just wonder about the types of the stories. I mean, short story, novel, or fable that you.
Okay, because it's a one semester project, so it's only short stories. One class is translate existing stories to like really tell a story into new story, and then the other class also like make it like very from scratch. Like we make them free to write anything, whatever the genre is. Some of them use fantasy, some of them use horror, something like the genre. So it's exactly like free. They are free to write anything. But it's actually because it's only short, it's only like 4 months, so it's only around short stories, probably 8 until 10 pages. Some of them are very short, like 3 or 4 pages.
Thank you. Very interesting.
Yes, Professor. Yeah, I like your presentation, but I have some questions for you because
Okay.
you talk about the short story, And well, my question is because I want to know that because you have the student to write the short story, right?
Yes.
So I want to know that because that in short story we have a lot of elements,
Yes.
Like for example, like a plot, conflict,
Yeah.
Character. So
Yes.
because we have many types of character. So I want to know that did your student study about short story before have to write a short story?
In the class, in creative writing classrooms, they actually studied like how they build the characters and then how they actually put the plots in the stories and stuff and other things like how they describe settings and other things. But because it's quite new, I mean like you can develop like there's a lot of rooms to develop the structure of the course itself.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, discussions?
I'm not familiar with the English literature or the area and English education, but I have just a simple question to you. So localized context is very important to learn English for the foreigner, non-native speakers. Did you say something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So will it be applicable to the people in the other region in Indonesia? For example, you can share the common knowledge, the local knowledge within the region, but when you move on to the other islands or other region, so they have their own knowledge or something. So will it be applicable to this kind of the context?
Well, What I do believe is we can actually use the same framework with different values input into different values to be put into these stories. So we can have like general frameworks that we can use for every single region in Indonesia. Some research also have the same similar things here in Sulawesi or our textbook use legends from Java, but we don't actually have that here in Kalimantan. So that's why we make our own stories, because we also have legends in our islands in Borneo, and also Sulawesi also have their own their own stories. So we actually can make a general framework to be used in two different cultures. Even probably not only Indonesia, probably from other country too. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay. You're ready. You're prepared. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your presentation.